Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm G.
And we're All Astrology. And we're here to help you learn how to apply astrology to your everyday life.
We have a chart, and we're going to talk about, are we talking about the Gemini rising on this chart? No, we're not.
Yes,
right?
well, not the Gemini rising, but how the full moon that we just had on Friday is going to affect a person who has a Gemini rising with this particular chart. And the Gemini rising in this chart falls into the 5th house.
Okay. The Libra full moon, which is what, 29 degrees. Now, 29 degrees in this chart. I don't have my little clipboard thing, but
Yep, it's right behind us.
But the 29 degree mark actually is kind of already marked on this chart, and it's right there. So that's in the 5th house. And for this individual's chart, the birth date is December 28th, 1974. Is that Westbridge?
Woodbridge.
Woodbridge, Virginia. So you know who you are. You sent the information to us. We got it. And Libra full moon is in your 5th house. The 5th house is all about children, creativity, romance,
travel.
Joy. Yep, travel, joy. Yeah. And it's, creativity is a big factor. The full moon in itself represents heightened emotions. Everybody knows that. You hear stories, oh, the police and the hospitals are just packed on a full moon.
Oh, yeah,
It's not Wolfman Jack time. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that.
It's a really bad time to have to go to the hospital because the emergency room is always packed during a full moon.
Yeah, and the moons, what they do is they build in energy. So there's a culmination of energy. And so when the full moon occurs, it's at the height, it's at the peak of the energy. And so typically people who are sensitive, they feel it. And if you don't know about it in advance, you don't realize what it is that's happening, and it ends up expressing and manifesting in someone's life as maybe an argument. And in this particular full moon, well, in this particular full moon, it's in Libra, and Libra is all about relationships, and not just like someone on the street relationship. It's significant one-on-one relationships.
As a matter of fact, the night, I think it was either the day before or maybe 2 days before the full moon, my husband walked into the house. He said something to me, and I snapped at him, and he goes, well, if you're going to yell at me, I'm not going to talk to you. And he was storming around the house, and I'm snapping at him, and it's like, that is classic full moon energy.
It is. And it happens. Like, we're all human. So it's just being aware of, okay, I feel like I'm really right about this. The other first person as well feels like they're really right about whatever the heck it is the debate is about, or the discussion and the disagreement. It's just like she said earlier, we have to be aware of it. We have to take a few breaths. You have to count to 5 or 10 or 20 or however many things it takes to count to till you've calmed yourself down, and you go ahead and you can speak rationally, be logical. So for you in your chart here, right, on that birthday that we listed, right, the December 28th, 1974, know that there is a culminating energy, and it's going to be children, joy, creativity, romance. And so these areas, this particular area in your chart, there's just going to be a concentration.
Yeah, and it probably involved your kids, if you have kids.
Could be kids, definitely.
Could definitely be an argument about the children. Could definitely be about, maybe we want to go on vacation this summer, but wait a minute, we don't have the money for vacation, but wait a minute, we want to go travel. It could be about any of those types of things.
And it could even be about standing there, being around the kids arguing, and it just becoming like, because they're having an argument themselves, and so it's stressful. It's just an increase in tension and increase in energy. And normally when there's a buildup and an increase in energy, if someone's not aware of it, they don't know what to do with it. And so a lot of times it comes out of here, right?
Right.
And it usually could be, well,
and it explodes in really negative ways.
It could, yeah.
That's what happened with my husband and I when it happened. And using that as an example, it just lets you guys know that I'm aware of this stuff, but it still happens. We don't always stop and take that minute to think about it. And when I thought about it and I realized, oh my God, the full moon's on Friday.
Right, like
And-
tomorrow, because it was the day before.
And
it was
I
like
just
the night before.
blew up at him, and he goes, "Are you just going to keep yelling at me?" And I went,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm just going to keep yelling at you." Because I was frustrated at the situation that was going on, that I didn't want to have happen. And I didn't have any control over the situation, and I was frustrated. And so that's what happens.
And this full moon energy, not to be a downer, but it's powerful. And so it begins a few days before the full moon actually happens, which was on Thursday. Is that correct?
The full moon was
my
on
brain's
Friday.
Okay, the full moon was Friday.
So it actually started on about Tuesday.
Yeah, you get this waxing, this building. And then after the full moon occurs, which is at its peak, it then starts to wane. But it lasts for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks after the actual full moon.
Yeah.
So just be aware of these things, having the awareness of it, and knowing it's not going to stay. It's going to change, and it's just more like the moon's way of saying, hey,
I'm here.
yeah,
Be
and
aware of me.
It's just another extra, I guess, thing to consider and to be aware of. And a lot of times people say that the full moon represents a culmination, a closure to something. So in this area of someone's life on this chart, there might be something that you'd been working on, something that you just had been, trying to figure out and didn't have an answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have that answer. Typically when a full moon is up there, it's bright. It's
Yep.
bright and it shines you. There's a light somehow shined on whatever this thing was you were working on. And that's how you all of a sudden have an answer for
Right.
that thing.
And that's sort of what happened and why the argument exploded between my husband and I. We had something that needed to be fixed on the house, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, we suddenly had somebody who could come and fix it the very next day.
Yeah, it was fast. It was just
It
bam.
happened out of the blue, and
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? I wasn't planning on having anybody in the house the next day to come and do this. Where is this coming from? Why are we doing this? Why do we have to have this done tomorrow? I don't want to have this done. I didn't want to do this tomorrow. And that's how the entire argument exploded. So that's how these things happen.
So we're all human. We all go through it. And we all have the sign of Libra somewhere in our chart. In this particular person's chart, it happens to be in their fifth house.
Right.
Okay? So we're trying to just present this in a way where people understand. And so we're going to repetitiously talk about how every sign we talk about, it's somewhere in your chart. We all have this. So the moon's going to affect me. In her chart, the moon happened in her first house. So it's very personal.
The moon happened in my second house.
In your second house. So it's going to be about the things that she valued. And it most definitely was over the things that she valued. It had to do with her home and the things that are in her home. And to her, that's
everything.
That's everything. It's like, holy crap, don't touch my stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's mine. You're not doing that with it? Hell no. So it was
bring
very...
strangers into my house and touch my stuff without consulting me.
Yeah, it was just
and all
like,
of a
this
sudden
is what's
I had
happening.
strangers in my house without consulting me in advance.
So these are things that, even though it's the full moon and we're talking about just this particular chart, if you're listening and if you have any knowledge of astrology and you have access to your own chart, you could then look at where Libra 29 degrees is and apply these things that we're talking about, because it's the same. There's a running theme when you talk about a Libra full moon. It's about relationships, close, significant relationships, one-on-one relationships. It's about balance. It's about compromise. It is about being fair. It's the system of checks and balances. So
think about the symbol of Libra, which is the balance. And how do you find balance?
Yes.
And how do you find compromise?
And that's one of the things about the full moon message is that, am I over compromising in my life? Is someone else not compromising enough?
Right.
It's it's not one or the other. It's figure it out. You may be giving too much. You may not be giving enough. You may not be compromising enough. That other person may not be compromising enough. You know,
Right.
so it's the way astrology helps is it pinpoints the area of your life where this is occurring, and it's an area when it's a full moon. It's lighting it up because it wants you to know, hey, that person's not compromising enough, or you're not compromising enough. And then you be aware of it. And normally when you're aware of something, that's half the battle, as they say, and you can process it and change the way you are about it, and change your thinking and your thoughts and your words, and then move forward. Okay?
Absolutely.
So that we also wanted to offer an insight into this particular chart. We don't want to be like everybody else on YouTube, quite frankly. We want to be able to offer real value. So in the midst of listening to any and all of our values, I want to step apart at this moment to take the time to say, please like and subscribe and comment to our videos if you find anything here that's of value to you.
Please hit that bell.
Yes.
So that you know when we're dropping videos onto YouTube.
Yes.
So that you can take a look and see if it's something that you want to watch, and give us a like, and check out what we're doing, because that's really going to let you know that we've posted videos.
Yeah, you tap the bell, and then that way, because you're a person who's already given us your information, you know you're going to hear about your chart. Okay?
Okay.
Next thing on this chart is, other than the Libra full moon, she felt very, very strongly as we looked at this chart before. We must have talked about this chart for a long time, actually, before we came on.
We spent a lot of time discussing this chart before we came on.
And all we have time for right now, and to be fair to everybody else whose chart we've gone over, we can give you a nice little summary of what we do see is coming down the line.
Yep.
There is a period of about 7 to 10 years that is extremely significant, and you're gonna see changes starting within the year. You're gonna see changes. It involves a planet that's all about surprises, and it's like the inventor planet. It's Uranus we're referring to.
But it also can affect the neurological system. So it's going to affect the way in which your brain literally functions. It's going to affect the way you look at things. You could quite literally, within your own brain, the way your synapses connect, begin to see things in a different way.
Yep.
Begin to build neural pathways that were never there before, and begin to find ways of connecting things together, and maybe come up with something new and innovative.
Most definitely. Out of the box thinking is Uranus, no doubt. He's the inventor.
And this is where this is going to come from.
Originality, authentic.
And this full moon
Internet
is hitting this right
Astrology.
where this is. And it's
Uranus
also
is astrology too.
It absolutely is astrology. And so maybe this is going to be the thing that's going to click for you, that's going to say, wait a minute, I had a dream the other night.
Yes, good point, because the way it's positioned in this person's chart, it's positioned in a
Hitting
house.
in the house of dreams.
House of dreams, big time dreaming.
Could
Answers
have
in your dreams.
You could
Lightning
have a
bolt
dream,
type of things, like,
or you have
holy
that
crap.
thought, and you wake up and you go, wait a minute, I have an idea.
Yep.
I saw something
Yep.
in a dream. I have this idea.
Yep.
I think I can figure out how to put this idea together. I can put it on paper. It's something nobody's ever thought of before. It's something new. It's an inventive. And it's going to blow people out of the water. And I firmly, firmly believe that there is something there, and that you need to keep your eyes open and really keep your mind open to it. I think you're going to see something really magical happen.
And don't be surprised, because it's happening also in a place where your senses are going to be heightened. And that's the senses of smell, see, taste, touch.
Everything.
It's also going to be senses you did not know that you had. Okay? Because it's in a mystical house. So you may be having mystical experiences. You may be having the realization that you're connecting to the other side. You may have sensations that the other side is present, and that the veil has suddenly become much thinner, because tactilely your body may become sort of a dowsing rod in a sense. I mean, these are all possibilities. These are all possibilities. And
your neurotransmitters might be more open. You might actually be hearing and feeling spirit more. And they are very in tune, and they actually give us that information sometimes that we need to really put together those ideas that we begin to have, that they give us through our dream world. And so be open to it.
Be open to it. And you're also going to probably have a greater connection, especially in the next 7 years, with the earth in general and all things earthy. You know, whether you were that before or not, it just might be even the understanding that, wow, we're all one. And there's some way, somehow, that this information you're going to get is going to be a connecting factor to that, actually. It's going to kind of be the bowl that holds all the ideas in it. It's going to be this vessel that everybody's in it, and that includes Mother Earth. And your value system in regards to that is going to be part of this. You may change that which you once valued. You may, you know, maybe not necessarily just throw a old or, you know, value out the window, but add to it. And it's going to be innovative. It's going to be something you might not have valued before. You're all of a sudden putting it in your bucket of things that you value. And so be open to this change, and just know that at this time, it's about riding the waves of change. It's about staying on the surfboard, and hell, for me, sitting on the surfboard is okay. I don't have to be standing up on it and riding the waves like a pro. It's just staying on that board, keeping my head and my lips above the water, and knowing, okay, we're just going to kind of go with the flow on this. And sometimes it might be kind of surprising and shocking, because that is what we're talking about.
Right.
And unexpected. Expect the unexpected. And it sounds like it's going to be in a lot of really good ways, and it's going to have to do with thought that's coming in and being very innovative. So stay open and be aware. That is probably the best advice anybody could give you, because if you don't want the information, it won't come. You really just got to be open to the possibilities of connecting to source, because that's what this planet is. It's like you have an open communication line that's actually being worked on, and it's going to be improved upon, and information will be downloaded, so to speak. Okay?
And the more you read, the more neural pathways you build, and the more you can connect ideas together and be open to as many ideas as you can be, because that's really what's going to help you.
All right. So this concludes our reading for this particular chart, which was December 28th, 1974. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment. We want to hear from you guys. We're going to do more shows. Matter of fact, we're going to upload a few more videos right now. We're going to move right along.
And enjoy the ride.
That's right. And remember, everything you look at in life, it all comes down to all astrology.
Have a great one.
All right. Thank you.